Ask your son a question since he's probably more of my generation.
Go ahead.
Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Michael. How about you?
I'm doing fine.
Is it raining out there?
Well, it's kind of cloudy and it is very damp right now.
Really?
Listen, Chris, I'd like to know what branch of service you served in.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
How old do you think he is?
I thought he was about in his 30s, maybe.
No, he was too young for Vietnam. And,
Well, of course, I was a liberal back then because I was brainwashed through all my college professors.
you were never a liberal, Chris, never.
Well, Mike, what makes you think I was in the service?
No, I was just asking. I wanted to know because I was listening to Bob Dornan.
Why did you want to know, Michael?
Well, I was curious because I know he's very much to the right.
What has that got to do with being in the service?
Well, if you let me finish, I'd like to explain it. I know he's very much to the right, and I figured that, if you're that far to the right, that you join the service.
Why? Do you think people who are right-wingers join the service?
Well,
do you think all those guys that are over there in Saudi Arabia are right-wingers, all 600,000?
No, but I know that the people who you consider to be on the left join the service, and I know that you're very hawkish, so I figured that...
I don't know what you mean by hawkish.
Well, bomb, 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 bomb.
Bomb? Yeah, bomb Saddam Hussein. Is there anybody else you want bombed?
No, I'm just curious.
Bomb, 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 bomb. You know what you are?
What am I?
I tell you are. A little twerp, a little fake phony
really?
fraud. What branch of the service were you in,
I
creep?
was in the United States Navy, sir, and I served on...
You were not in the United States Navy. I wouldn't allow you in the United States Navy, you fake. I hate fakes. Despise them.
Are they?
Why were the people in the bunker?
And why are they in harm's way?
Why were they in harm's way? Because Saddam Hussein believes in human shields. That's why. Because Saddam Hussein has no problem killing human beings. He's proven that long before the war in the Gulf, long before he invaded Kuwait. He's proven by virtue of killing his own people that human life means absolutely nothing to him. As a matter of fact, he seems to revel in causing the death and destruction of others.
So this was, what would you call it, an accident? Or,
An accident? An accident on whose part?
Not on our part, right?
Well, look, he had the command post there. We knew he had the command post there, so we bombed it. I think it was prudent that we did what we did. Militarily, we have nothing to apologize for.
What?
I believe it has begun. We saw last night on Nightline, we had Ted Koppel telling a news reporter over there who happens to be staying at the Al-Rashid that even though we suspect that the Al-Rashid has a communications center underneath its basement, that not to worry, we're not going to bomb it. And as far as I'm concerned, what we ought to be doing is giving those people over there a warning that the Al-Rashid is now on the target list, and for their own safety, get themselves out of that hotel. That's number one. I think it's true that the Al-Rashid, if it is a military target, say so. Tell them to get out right now, and that,
we may very well do that. We may do that. Ted Koppel may do Nightline, but he doesn't conduct government policy. He thinks he does because each and every broadcast he becomes more arrogant, more overwhelming in his superiority. But I have news for you, Ted. You're not the government. What else, Jerry? What else? You have a complaint. It's not with Arnett. It's with Arnett's bosses, right?
That's exactly it. And I tried to get through to them. It's almost impossible to get through to them to voice the complaint. And then when you do...
Oh, yeah, it's almost impossible. But let me tell you this. Any criticism that they've received, they are bothered no end. Believe me, I know. Their phone anywhere. United States Congressman Robert K. Dornan.
One way to get control of this situation, Bob, and that is for the American Defense Department to very politely tell all the reporters to vacate the Rashid Hotel, and that sometime 5 days from now, over a 4-night period, the Rashid Hotel will implode into a pile of rubble. And say, we don't mind you staying there, but get your own accommodations. The fun and games are over at that hotel. Even the New York Times agrees that there's a command bunker hidden somewhere there. This guy may have been the world's greatest mole gopher. I mean, seriously, in all of history, probably nobody has put so much of his assets underground. And to take the press on a Potemkin tour of the boiler room and parts of the basement they want them to see is ridiculous. And I think it great impact on Saddam Hussein to lose one of his luxury hotels, far more than he seems to care about the terrible loss of human beings. Even his fast-stepping Republican Guard, who are dying by the hundreds every day, he doesn't give a flying holy for them. But maybe losing the Rashid Hotel would bother him enough to pull out of Kuwait.
It makes so much sense. It's irresistible. Do you think the Defense Department has the imagination you have?
Well, I called over there today and I said, look, if this is all factual and looks like they're going to stand by the Times story, I said, you don't have to hurt a soul. Again, dazzle the world with our precision and tell everybody to get out of there. And who knows, to save his Al-Rashid Hotel, named after Harun al-Rashid, the Caliph of Baghdad in the Arabian Nights, year 1000, to save the hotel, he might immediately turn around and put POWs in it. So at least we could get them to evacuate the hotel, and the press could live, in smaller accommodations and know some of the privation that our men and women in the desert understand.
It isn't just Peter Arnett, but do you think that they would actually get out, or would?
Oh, they're sure they would get out.
They would.
Oh, sure. If they're told, look, you don't know what we know, there is a command bunker downstairs, you're not being shown where it is, get out of the hotel, you stay there at your own peril. I can tell you, Peter Arnett has been in some harrowing circumstances, but he doesn't have that kind of egotistical bravado where he'd say, well, now it's me, the New Zealander, against the United States. Bill Blakemore would leave. Sure, they'd all leave. They'd find another hotel somewhere.
Aside from the Al-Rashid, and let's hope that what you're saying comes to pass. Aside from the Al-Rashid, the bombing of that headquarters not too far from the Al-Rashid. Can you believe the propaganda value that Hussein is getting out of this?
Well, I don't speak from any definitive authoritative briefing. I went into the Capitol last night and looked at all of the bomb damage assessment photography that I'm entitled to see, which is pretty much everything. Actually, any member can see whatever he wants, but being on the Intelligence Committee, I'd just maybe get it a day sooner. Everything up to, but not inclusive of, night before last, which would have been that bunker. And I can tell you that everything that the military has said, from Commander-in-Chief George Bush down to the pilots getting out of their airplanes, they have literally put their lives on the line to protect civilians. And I think what the bottom line is coming down to in the intelligence community is that this may have been a lure. Now, I used that word yesterday afternoon, and nobody contradicted me. Then I heard Jim Schlesinger, who's a former head of the CIA, use it last night at McNeil Lair. And if you think about it, they completely redid that building, and it's set out there in the middle of a lot away from the mosque and the school, way out in the middle of an open area. And they made it look like an absolute tempting target. And then they got these several hundred people to put their women and children in there and keep them in there for several weeks. Now, you know what a bomb shelter gets like. A body smells, bad facilities, underground, dank, cold. Who would want to stay in there during the daylight hours when there was no bombing unless they were ordered to? Then here's how easy it is to close the loop on the lure. You start broadcasting fake and even some real command and control orders from that area. They know what our NSA can do now. As a matter of fact, they are so aware, Bob and Chris, of our skill in listening to them, signal intelligence, that they have kept everything on microfiber underground facilities as whenever they possibly can. They have been very good about not going in the open air. And so they would easily lure us by sending out signals.
All right, Bob, I have to interrupt you. The speaker has appointed a new member that you have to sit alongside of. His name is Ron Dellums, and it just seems like the proverbial putting the fox in charge of the chicken coop to put Dellums on the Intelligence Committee. I know you probably aren't going to be that indelicate because you are in the Congress with him, but really, Bob, how do you feel about his being appointed?
Well, he's a colleague, and obviously I have to work with him and get along with him on two different committees on armed services, on which we both serve. He, being senior, working his way up, having been elected on a one-party position against the war in Vietnam in 1970, so he's starting his 21st year. he's senior enough now that he is chairman of the most secret subcommittee in the House outside of the full intelligence committee, and that is the subcommittee on research and development. That's where the advanced tactical fighter will come from. That's where the B-2 debates go on. Every exotic, electronic, avionic, aircraft, naval, army, weapons system goes through that R&D committee. And he was the chairman for 2 years. Not many people noticed that. And he ran it very effectively from inside, and then only became the radical Ron Dellums on the House floor. So I fully used that, the speaker used that as a rationale for putting him on the Intelligence Committee. Now, the reason that Dellums probably took this is it gives him a chance to disrupt our whole covert policy in Angola. Not very covert much anymore because of leaks off that committee, including one people who is defeated and is gone, thank heavens. But Ron does have a lot to answer for Grenada. He had a staff who were working with the communist government down there, hand in glove. All the correspondence was found in one of the bombing sites down there at Fort Richmond. So, I don't know. I think that he'll probably be the same old outspoken Ron Dellums on the floor, and it gives him an extra advantage because he would take the floor to try to kill all of our covert programs, Afghanistan, Angola, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and he would try to do it without knowing exactly what they were all about. Now he'll have that inside knowledge of knowing every single covert problem, covert thing that the U.S. has in the world. This will thrill the radical left in this country, but how circumspect and careful he'll be about using that knowledge, only time will tell.
Sir.
Well, let me say, as a prologue, the hardest thing for Americans and Europeans and Central and South Americans, most rational thinking people in the world, the hardest thing for them to get in their head in the last decade of the 20th century, which you just say the word 20th century and it's supposed to mean modernity to you. You know, trains, boats, and planes, and now electronic communications, car phones, satellites bringing the world together. In that modern 20th century world, its last decade, how can one frail human being with one mass of 1,400 cc's of gray matter in his head, as some creature out of the dark mist of time, like Tamerlane, Genghis Khan, or in this century, Hitler, Mussolini, Pol Pot, Idi Amin, how can one man have such a police state terror operation that nobody will strike him down as he slowly allows his country to be torn to shreds? Every bridge going down, every ministry building, as I said earlier, hundreds of his troops dying out in the desert, his very elite Republican Guard, his Waffen-SS, out there being blown sky high by B-52s. The overpressure from those B-52s down in Kuwait caused ear ruptures, eardrums to rupture, mild concussions. He's allowing all of this one human being. We can't comprehend that this one man could snap his fingers, blink his eyes, and his little general staff, his Hitler gang, will go scurrying around, call the Russians and say, okay, we're leaving Kuwait forthwith, no conditions at all, we are out of there, give us a little bombing pause for just an hour, you'll see all our trucks head north. He can do that, and it's hard for liberals in America particularly to understand that. Now, what's the biggest mistake your friend Bob Dornan has made in all of this? I predicted that when I saw we were using our aerial assets with the same precision that we only did for 18 days, Bob and Chris, in Vietnam, in the month of December, starting on the 11th of December, skipping Christmas Day, and concluding on the 29th of December, 1972, that's the only 18 days, thanks to someone with a near criminal mind of what he did to our country, Robert Strange McNamara, that war ended in 18 days. Now, the Vietnamese obviously had a committee. It wasn't the rule of one single human being, not Le Duc Tho, not Pham Van Dong. No one man had all that power because Ho Chi Minh was dead. So they got together in committee and said, my God, we're committing national suicide here. Let's end this thing. We'll have to negotiate good faith for the first time in 4 years. And they did. But I thought the mistake I made was that he was rational enough, that's what my CIA briefings told me, that he was a survivor, the desert fox, that he was clever, that he'd pull out at the 11th hour and 59th minute, or the minute he'd passed the 15th and defied us, he'd pull out the next day. Bush didn't give him a chance to exercise that little option. And we thought, well, he did have a whole day, come to think of it. I thought that after 2 or 3 nights of pounding, he'd be out. I thought using the Vietnam figure 18 days, definitely he'd cry Uncle Sam. Now here we are on the 14th of February, so that's 29 days of the most precise bombardment and siege in world history, and this mad dog is using his people, to quote one of the British air officer briefers, he's using human beings as currency to further his megalomania. And none of us can understand how this can happen in the 20th century. Can I just cross one T there so the audience doesn't get confused?
Sure.
Of the B-52Gs, there are 70 of them that have a nuclear mission the same as the H's, but 33 of them, we've lost one, so it's obviously 32 now, 32 older Gs flying out of Castle in California, Loring, Maine, and soon out of Barksdale, Louisiana. Those guys, younger than their airplanes, train only in dropping conventional weapons, and those are the wings that are assigned to the Gulf, not even the other 70 Gs, let alone the 84 H's or the 97 B-1Bs. It really isn't a complex thing. It's the media, Bob, looking to hurt one system. Everything has worked so well, they want to attack something, so they're attacking the B-1B, which is doing its job, which is a totally different job in nuclear deterrent.
Well, that slams the lid on things for today. Until Monday, when I will return to this microphone, this is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Kill Saddam Hussein. Not even the 22nd of February, which is George Washington's birthday. But George has to share his day with Abe, the two greatest presidents in the history of the world. They have to share a day. There's only one person who gets a day in his honor, and that's that bum who was born on January 15th, 1929. Dell, here's Vito.
Oh, Mr. Grant?
Yes.
I want to tell you something. Well, I was attended your daughter's wedding, as you well know, and I appreciate the invitation. It was spectacular. I never in my life seen so many senators, and judges, and politicians from all over the country. It was spectacular. You spared no expense for your daughter's wedding. You're a great man. Movie actors, everything. It was unbelievable. Well, that goes without saying, as you well know. The reason you look fantastic. You look absolutely fabulous in your tuxedo. And I want to wish you all the luck in the world. And if there's anything the family could do for you, they pick up a telephone.
The family, huh?
Goes without saying.
Goes without saying. Well, all right. I'm honored. I was honored that you were there. I knew it was you, even though you came in with a Homburg and the dark glasses and the gray felt glove. I know that was you. You were standing in the corner, surrounded by associates.
Associates. And that Roy Fredericks is a very talented man. He's tremendous.
He sang What I Did for Love from Chorus Line. He sang to Mr. and Mrs. Robert Gaydosh.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I don't want to take much more of your time, and you're a great man, and you will go down in history as the greatest talk show host in the country. Goes without saying.
Well, it goes, gee, thank you. By the way, Phil Ambro, I understand, is going to be at the Rio Diner. Maybe you might want to come over there and put the arm on him.
When will he be there?
He'll be there next, we're doing a special show, Vito. I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm contributing my time as is the radio station to a fundraiser for the Leukemia Foundation. And we're going to do a special Saturday show.
At what time?
10 a.m. until 1 p.m.
Well, I want to tell you something, Mr. Grant. Vito Corleone will be there for respect for you and the Leukemia Foundation.
It goes without saying.
Goes without saying.
Okay.
Stop the bone.
Bye. That's Vito checking in, but we are doing a program live and direct from the Rio Diner. Manchester does pretty good, what with the Board of Education being rife with corruption, mayor being ripe. Listen, the fact of the matter is, you have some of the sleaziest politicians in the whole country in the state of New Jersey. Not only this year, but last year, the year before that. Why? I think one of the reasons is this stupid policy of allowing a skunk to wear two hats. to be a state senator or an assemblyman and a mayor.
Well, right now in Edison, Bob, we don't have that problem because that gentleman is no longer the mayor. We have a gentleman named Mayor Convery who did something which I consider on Friday to be the least very blatant. What he did.
Do you have call waiting?
You don't worry about that, Bob.
No, I will worry. One more click and I go to another call.
I'll continue. I can't help that call waiting.
But neither can I. That's why one more click, I go to another call.
I hope they don't hang up. Bob, the chairman of the Ethics Commission resigned on Friday, citing frustration with the administration.
On WABC, I got to keep my word. I said I'd go to another call. You people, if you recognize somebody is talking on the air, don't call them if they have call waiting.
But what I'd also like to point out is that the Vietnam veterans also need the support of the American people, even though the war is over and they're not in a combat zone at the moment. They still have a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Such as?
Or I should say addressed.
Such as?
Such as the Agent Orange issue.
All right, the Agent Orange issue. We've heard a great deal about the Agent Orange issue. The Supreme Court just rendered a verdict on it. What else?
Well,
what else? Anything else?
You sound as hostile as most other people in this country.
All I asked was what else? You said issues to be addressed. You named Agent Orange. And I told you that we have been addressing that. What else?
POW issue.
What POW issue?
Well,
you mean there are still POWs there?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, that's fantastic. Where are they?
You think that's fantastic that we have American citizens?
No. I think it's fantastic that you think there are more POWs.
Yeah, I think there are.
Oh, you think there are?
Yes.
You know how many times we've sent people over there and they've come back saying there's no evidence to indicate that they are? Why would the Vietnamese still hold them?
Well, because we reneged on our promise for war.
We did?
Preparation.
We didn't renege on anything. Listen, pal, when you grow up, give me a call and we'll talk, okay? In the meantime, get well.
In the Danbury, Connecticut area, Reading, Connecticut area, that there is a Army reservist that is attending 2 funerals a day from troops from the Persian Gulf. And, sir, I say there is no way. And, I say if there's 2 funerals a day from people in Danbury, Connecticut, there must be 10,000 a day from New York. This is a military soldier that is saying this. What do you say about that, sir?
Well, I say it's a crock.
That's what I said, sir.
Absolutely absurd. We have 30 known casualties, 30 known deaths.
Sir, that is what I said, too.
Well,
and
what is this, sir? What are we, in the Army here?
Well, sir, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was in the Air Force.
Who the heck do you think you're talking to anyway? You're General? This is not
No,
General Grant, this is Bob Grant. So cut it out with the sir.
I was a buck sergeant. How about that?
Anyway, listen, pal.
Yes, sir.
I can't believe you're that dumb that you number one, would take this seriously. Number two, waste your time. Forget about mine. I got to be here till 6 o'clock. Waste your time calling when you know no such thing is happening.
Okay, Bob, this is what I want to tell you, is that words like this are going around and that people are believing this.
Let them go around. Let them go around. Who cares? If there are gavones out there, who cares?
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.
I want to know, do you know if Gorbachev had any... I had dental work today, so my S's aren't too good. Is in talking to Bush before he goes over and discuss anything with Iraq? And I mean, like, is he doing it on his own?
Well, he's not going to Iraq.
I mean, Iraq going over to Russia. Are they in contact? Do they know what each other
They may
want?
have been on the phone. They may have talked privately.
Because what I've been hearing, it's totally what Bush is against. Bush is no... It's just like...
Hey, look, Maureen, let's relax. They can talk all they want. Operation Desert Storm is still progressing. There's not been any pause in the bombing. The ground attack will begin later this week.
Right, everyone...
President Bush has made it very clear.
Yeah.
There's only one thing we will respond to, and that is Iraq's adherence to UN Resolution 660, to the complete, unconditional withdrawal from Kuwait. How many times does the president
We all know
or
this.
the Secretary of State, how many times do they have to say that?
But it's like Russia can't say anything like, oh, fine, the Palestinian issue will be brought in and all this. You know, they can't do that on their own.
They can say anything they want on their own.
Right, yeah.
They can say anything they want, and they do.
Well, the American people wouldn't know if Gorbachev and Bush are really, like, you know, back and forth. To find that they cannot speak for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, is he giving the okay to speak for us? I don't think so. You know. For Gorbachev to, like, speak for the American people, okay, we'll do this or we'll do that. We already said to them, no. You have to just get out. There's nothing else. Don't laugh at me. I was up at the Rio Diner last time you were there, and you did the same thing. You were sweet to me. And you
Listen, I get a big kick out of gavones. Don't.
Oh, hey, don't call me that.
Oh, really? Okay, I won't call you that.
I'll be up there at the Rio Diner when you're up there next.
All right, make yourself known next Saturday, so
I will.
Everybody can see you.
And I think you're a pussycat.
Everybody
you're not as mean as
everyone. Yeah, everybody can see the dental work you say you just had done.
I did. Yeah, they will.
Okay, dear.
Okay, bye-bye.
It's better than working for a living, although if I could get a job as a salesperson for Allied Building Products Corporation, then I would. That's a fact. Yes, Charles?
When you said if this matter is to be settled by the Islamic nation, then don't call this program. I fully well agree with you and you should also add, and you must listen for a year before you call. You should add that to the statement. Because
I'm not Charles, excuse me, I'm not understanding you.
Oh, okay, let me go over this. This is the first time I'm calling your program.
Where are you from?
I am from Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, what do you know about the Muslim nations, Charles?
Well,
I'll tell you what you know. You know very little, and you're too hard to understand. I can't handle it. Well, again, this proves the point that the American media, the people who the media, the people who work in the media and report the news, for the most part, are bleeding heart left-wingers who find it more appealing to report an American mistake than an intentional mass murder by a foreign leader. It sounds crazy, and you know something? It is, but it's a fact of life.
Good afternoon. On this President's Day, we have to celebrate two people now instead of one.
Well, that's because the biggie, the real biggie, the guy who's the most important in the history of civilization, was born on January 15th, 1929, and his day is far more important than any other day in our history, isn't it?
Well, you take Lincoln's birthday. 38 states do not recognize his birthday in his country. Isn't that something? 38 states do not recognize...
Oh, I'm sure Paul Tagliabue would like to know that, so that any states that don't will be denied the Super Bowl. For example, Tampa or Miami.
How they're picking on Arizona.
New Orleans, huh?
How they're picking on Arizona. It's the only state that voted against... It's the only state in the entire country that voted against the King holiday. Only
and
one.
You know why it's the only state? It's the only state that had a referendum. Do you think... don't you think that there would have been other states if it had been put up to the public?
Sure, plenty.
Well, you know what a guy... And I'm not going to embarrass him because he's a member of my party and he's a good guy. So I won't mention him by name. He said, hey, look, he said if they put a public referendum in New Jersey, the people would have voted against it also.
Yeah, well...
so they don't trust the people. You see, they keep saying, we believe in democracy, we believe in power to the people. Yeah, but heaven forbid if they give the people the right to vote on that jerk's holiday.
Yeah, well, here's an example. The District of Columbia does not recognize Lincoln's birthday. Would you believe that?
On WABC, that's Tom, who loves to make statements every time he calls, and then he concludes by saying, would you believe that? Would you believe that? He ought to do a program called Would You Believe That? We have a program director who's taking a much-deserved day off today, Tom, but you may call him tomorrow and tell him you have an idea for a new show titled Would You Believe That? Said with a great nasal intonation. Oh, dear me, sometimes I can't stand myself, you know?
Congratulated you about your daughter's wedding, and you hung up on him. I mean, what kind of business is that?
I didn't hang up on him.
You made no comment, and...
Well, what was there to say? What was there to say?
Well, thank you.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't thank him. Okay. Thank you, sir. Belatedly.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Eugene and I thank you.
You're right. If it weren't for the listeners, you wouldn't even be on the air, for God's sake.
That's right. Hey, Eugene, you figured that out all by yourself?
Oh, no. I have a lot to help.
Okay.
Your behavior helps me a lot. Really.
I see. May I suggest a very good dentist? It sounds as though your dentures are a little sloshing around,
I think your mind is a little bit warped. That has nothing to do with my teeth. It's your head. There's something wrong with the way you think and the way you talk to people.
The way I think?
The way you think. T-H-I-N-K. Do you know how to spell?
Spell? No, you do have some slosh there.
No, there's no slosh. The slosh is around your head. That's where the slosh is. I'm going to give to you what you gave to this man.
No, don't hang up. Eugene, ooh, it hurts. Ouch, he hung up on me.
Every other respect, 100% against it. But I think with the abuses of the insurance companies today, the fact that they deny claims for reasonable customary charges and they make all kinds of mistakes against the public deliberately, specifically Blue Cross is the worst. And if somebody has any catastrophic illness, they have to fill out hundreds of claim forms, which is something that somebody who has cancer or whatever should never be subjected to. Triple the population rate of the country, you can see how doctors are really screwing us. And I think they should get rid of welfare and instead substitute it with a national health care system. Because these welfare people, let's face it, they can all go out and work and add to the productivity of our economy. Get rid of that form of socialism, and give socialism to the guys who really deserve it, the doctors and the insurance companies who are really screwing sick people. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that. Also on the war, Bob, I think Saddam Hussein's bellicose Nazi-like threats against Israel and the support he's gotten from the Arabs in Israel proves that Kahane is right and Kach is right.
Well, that's what you really called about. You really didn't call...
No, actually, I called about both.
No, you really didn't...
well, I did call about both, and I'm angry.
Richard, I'd have more respect for you if you would call and say, Bob, I want to talk about...
Yeah, but then because you don't agree with me, you'll hang up on me. But I did want to talk about
No, you shouldn't use...
But I did want to
You shouldn't wheel in this... I don't believe you. You do it all the time. You're a fake, you're a phony, you're a fraud, and you're really pathetic. Really pathetic. President's Day. This is Dumb Day. I've never had so many dumb callers in a program in a long time. I shouldn't say never. It's been a long time that I've had this many stupid, dumb callers in a long time. Let's try Ron, calling from Spring Valley.
Your opinion, now that I think the world really knows what's going on with Yasser Arafat and how he applauds Hussein bombing innocent Israelis and bombing indiscriminately in Saudi Arabia, why is Jesse Jackson being so quiet? Is it because maybe he doesn't want to be affiliated with Yasser Arafat, who he's kissed in public, and with Hussein, who he just went to visit right before the war broke out?
Why? I'm surprised that you're even thinking about what he has to say. He's totally irrelevant.
But
he has nothing to do with American foreign policy. He doesn't make foreign policy. He's not in the government.
No, but he flew over there to try and get out the hostages. He likes to get involved in these things.
Well, there's nothing to get involved right now. When being a sleazy opportunist that he is, when he finds the next opportunity for his sleazy opportunism, don't worry, he'll be there.
I just never heard him be this quiet for this long.
On WABC, we're continuing in the parade of dummies. From Queens. Yeah, hello, Steve.
I am an American citizen. I am not Iraqi. I am not Iranian. I am not Syrian. I am from no country other than America. And I do not want to see my tax dollars spent, thrown away on foreign countries. I want to see my tax dollars spent building up American cities, making America strong. And I am fed up with the idea of the Bush administration who is talking about giving our hard-earned money. After we're about to fight a war in Iraq, he wants to throw away, after this war is over, after our men are killed, he wants to go over there and give those Iraqis money to build their cities. Then why are we fighting this war? You know something? I I don't agree with Jesse Helms on one thing, but even Jesse Helms, a man who I disdain, I hate that guy, he even says, don't come to me and ask me for money because you're not going to get any. He's right on this thing, and Bush is dead wrong, and the American people better wake up and realize that their tax dollars are about to go to fixing up American cities. And I thank you, and that's all I have to say.
It's George checking in right now. That guy made me tired. I felt like I wanted to take a deep breath listening to him. George from Wayne, New Jersey. Hello.
Over macaroni dinners at my grandmother's, hearing her speak about the Bible and points in Revelation about signs for Christ's second coming, things that I learned growing up. And some things have been on my mind lately. For example, Gorbachev on the world scene, as and being proclaimed as the one who has the ability to bring peace to the world. The fact that Gorbachev wears a mark on his head, which was something that was stated in the Bible.
Really? What do you mean? Is there something stated in the Bible? You mean that some guy would have a birthmark on his dumb forehead, on his bald head, and he was going to achieve something? Come on.
All right, so it sounds ridiculous. And
it sounds ridiculous. You've been hanging around with gypsies too much.
No, but I wanted to do the question justice because I wanted to hear your opinion, and I don't really want you to change opinion to meet mine because I hate when people do that to you. But of course, he's so. We all know there's something else.
He's not a peacemaker. He's a fake. He's a phony. He's a two-bit fraud. So what are you worried about?
Because
Call again, will you, Frank? Thank you. That slams the lid on things for today. Until tomorrow, here's Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Kill Saddam Hussein. Kill him now. I'll be honest with you. Something's bothering me, and I don't know for sure what it is. I'm grateful that I'm able to indulge myself because in this format, the guy who first got me involved in this in 1963, he said, look, whatever else, just be honest with the audience and everything will fall into place. I'm being honest with you. Something is distracting me. And have you ever had that? You're aware that something is distracting you from what it is you really want to do, what it is you know you should do, what it is you have an obligation to do. Something's distracting you. Maybe it's time to get out. Maybe it's time to really do what I said for years. I got to get out of here. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time, while I'm still relatively young and in excellent health. The dust never settles in this business, folks. Never settles.
Oh.
Yes, Lee.
Bob, Chinese, they discovered earthquake-proof machine to predict earthquakes. They did 7 earthquakes. Last 7 earthquakes. They
where are you from?
What are you talking?
Where are you from? Are you making this accent up? I think you better get off the phone, you creep. Send something over here, which is really a bit startling. And she does broadcast once or twice a week on WBAI. She's sharing this with me, and I thought I would share this with you in the Bob Grant WABC audience. I want you to listen carefully. It is a letter she received, postmark Fallsburg, New York, Post Office Box AG. It's from prisoner 78-A1976. Listen. Dear Ms. Samuels, I enjoy listening to your program, and I find WBAI radio to be so enlightening. I wish that more people in the United States could hear the other side of the coverage of the war in the Gulf. It is a shame that the major media stations, CBS, NBC, ABC, etc., have sold out to the U.S. government. One reason for this is that many of the major media personalities are members of the same organizations that President Bush belongs to, the Center for Foreign Relations, CFR, and the Trilateral Commission, TC. Both of these are occult-like, esoteric, and secretive organizations that blend together big business, the media, and the military with international bankers. It is frightening to see this push for a new world order, which is really a world government going at full speed. If you can believe me, many of the Old and New Testament prophets, as well as the infamous seer Nostradamus, forewarned of the coming of this world order. The Old Testament has many warnings for the Jews about this world order that will appear in, quote, the end times. It will crush the poor people of the world and cause many Jews to be killed. In any event, I have a poem for you. I write lots of poetry. This piece, titled B-52, is about the lethal B-52 bomber. We see how they are carpet bombing and are making parts of Iraq and Kuwait look like the surface of the moon. B-52 was just published in the 1990 poetry anthology put out by the Amherst Society. They're a poetry group organized in the memory of Emily Dickinson. Ironically, I wrote this poem in June of 1990 before the Iraq-Kuwait conflict. At that time, I never thought that the U.S. military would ever have occasion to use these bombers again, but I was wrong. You may have this poem. I tried to portray the B-52 just as it is, a metallic death machine that swoops down from the sky like an angry god coming to render judgment on the unprepared and unwary. And here's the poem. I'm saving this person's signature for the end. Please listen carefully. Here I am, a metallic death machine flying high above the forest floor. Like Michael the Archangel, I declare war from the heavens as I rain fire and brimstone as my judgments upon the earth. With the grace of a large silver scythe, swung from invisible hands, I swoop down and cut to pieces all things hidden and exposed above and below. I claim all life and place my prey eagerly into the hands of the eternal reaper. My scythe slices and severs both men and trees, as everything that breathes is mine for the slaughter. From the angelic hands I drip red-hot sheets of fire so as to purify and purge the land of every creature, be it fair or foul. My enemies smolder beneath my feet, their screams silenced by my angry war roar, as I come to conquer, creating a fine mixture of blood and earth soil. Sinners, behold, a splendid smite I render to the unprepared and unwary. My calling card is a charred and cratered ground. I topple kingdoms and cities as I create destruction and recreate a barren earth. Signed, David Berkowitz. Yes, David Berkowitz, who knows a lot about slaughter because as the son of Sam, he slaughtered 6 innocent young women, killed them. He injured several others, seriously affecting the rest of their lives. This mutant murdering scum, this swine who should have been executed back in 1977, has the gall to write this letter, has the gall to talk about carnage. This is one of the best arguments for the death penalty you could possibly imagine. That this fiend should be allowed to listen to the radio, to watch television, to watch movies, to play his games, to write his poems, to contact people in the media. I don't know whether you're listening or not, you swine. I'm just sorry they didn't strap you in the chair and fry you. You freak.
About the slave memorial that they want to put in Newark?
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. But what do you expect in Newark?
The African Holocaust.
Yeah. What do you expect? What do you expect from a city that is run by Sharp James, has Donald Payne as a as a congressman, has that city council. What do you expect from Newark? They ought to secede, for heaven's sake. As a matter of fact, do you remember Bacala?
No.
Formerly Leroy Jones, he changed his name to Bacala.
No.
Amiri Bacala. You never heard of Bacala?
No, I haven't.
Well, anyway, he wanted to change the name to Newark and make it a part of Africa. As a matter of fact, they don't even call it. America. They call it Erica. Aerica.
Well, this is supposed to strike at the heart of racism and miseducation in this country.
Well, I wish they would strike at the heart of racism and start with two-ton Tubbo, Sharpie Sharpton, and the rest of those black racist scum. I thank you for the call.
Okay, Bob.
It's no surprise to me that Son of Sam, that psychopath, listens to WBAI, that anti-American station, public radio out of Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And it's even less surprising that Lynn Samuel is on that, although I didn't know it. But, my God, that place is worse than that LIV thing that you talked about.
No place is worse than LIV.
Well,
no
golly.
place.
I
Impossible.
don't know if you've listened to public radio, but boy, I'll tell you, they like to take a shot at America every chance they get. And, you know, Lynn Samuels was like that when she was with you guys over there in New York. And it's just quite interesting. That psychopath Berkowitz likes what they have to say on that radio station.
I'd like to address the warden of the facility up there at Fallsburg. Warden, could I visit David Berkowitz with a pistola? Okay.
Send one of the IRA guys up there to bomb them out.
Yeah. You know, you forget about Moskowitz. You forget about all the others that he killed, but this guy goes on, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you for the call.
I don't know if you've heard that before, but...
Well, they've declared war on white America years ago and have been propagandizing and orchestrating, and they've been getting away with it. Nobody calls them to task. Nobody challenges them. Everybody is afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call.
Wait, I'm not... You conservatives, not you specifically, but ultra-conservatives, would you say that you are an ultra-conservative?
I don't get up each morning and say, I am an ultra-conservative. I'm a conservative. I'm this, I'm that. I don't waste my time with those labels. If you feel comfortable labeling me, Vince, you go right ahead. You call me anything you want.
No,
I'm interested in views. I'm interested in ideas. I'm interested in what works. And if something liberal works, I'll accept it. If something conservative works, I'll accept that.
Yeah.
So don't waste my time with labels which you know nothing of.
No, I'm not.
You're not capable. You're not capable of judging a person by virtue of labels. Okay, then what do you come up with a cockamamie? You ultra conservatives.
I wasn't aware of the fact that you don't compartmentalize your political views and are.
I don't compartmentalize mine. I know I know a bleeding heart when I hear one.
I'm no bleeding heart.
I didn't say you were. You don't. You defy codification because essentially you're nothing.
Why? How do you come to that conclusion?
Because I don't know you.
Because I have an opinion?
You're an unknown quantity to me.
Right, but that was a little derogatory.
Well, you took it personally. You see, your feelings are hurt.
No, I wouldn't be.
You're an unknown quantity, all right, Vince? You're an unknown quantity. You're not nothing. You're just unknown.
Tell me what I said that offended you. What did I say that?
Well, first of all, your diction bespeaks a person who's crude. You're crude. That's number one. Number two, this use of the term ultra-conservative tells me that you don't know what you're talking about. Having said that, I'm going to be quiet and listen to you.
Okay. I just wanted to say that liberals and conservatives alike frighten me in the sense that they're so rigid and unflexible and have this black and white mentality when they talk about certain issues. I mean, it's like thing of pride, even though in their heart they believe that the person that they're confronting could be right. Okay. Oh, this is so sophomoric. This is so sophomoric. This is so sophomoric. You know, do you like Maplethorpe by any chance? Yeah, one of his photographs had two guys. Ah, like a little kid. It's amazing. Amazing they let you on radio. You go back to Israel. Well, they'll take care of you.
Go back to Israel? What does that come in? What does that come in? What does that come in? What do you mean go back to Israel? What do you mean by that crack?
That crack?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? What do you mean go back to Israel?
Well, last week you were talking about the situation in the Middle East where if things don't work out and we don't go into a ground war, you talked about Israel going in and taking care of Saddam.
Yes, you gavone. That's what I said. What has that got to do with me going back to Israel?
Because I think your heart is there. It really is.
You know what my heart is? My heart is where civilization is, where people of goodwill are, where people who are brave enough to stand up to Saddam Hussein. What's wrong with that? You lowlife. Get off my phone, you little greaseball jerk. What a scumbag. Until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Kill Saddam Hussein. Kill him now. It's 6 o'clock.
Rapist over in Brooklyn who killed the girl.
Yeah, that dirtbag has a long record. It's a short life.
The guy that killed the Chinese girl in the subway had been arrested and or convicted 8 or 9 times and was a parole violator. And I don't want to, bore everybody. I have a long list here, and nobody does a damn thing about it. They put him in jail. They let him out. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Are we all going to have to suffer because of this liberal philosophy that jail is too bad for people, and then we have to rehabilitate them quickly and get them out so they can commit more crimes? What do you think?
Thank you for the call, Al. Thank you. I've been talking about that virtually every day for 21 years, and Al just brings it up like I never heard of it. Joe?
Yeah, I got focused on my mind. Amid from this war is the fact that the president's national holiday. Now, I go to a community college in New Jersey out there, and we had all for Martin Luther King Day. Now, we didn't have all for President's Day. I became pretty much enraged over the whole deal about it. And I talked with my friends. They said it wasn't fair. I wonder what your opinion is on it.
No kidding. You wonder what my opinion is? Hey, here's a brand new person to the show. Never heard the program before. Who's that barking in the background?
Oh, that's my militant dog.
Okay. Thank you very much for the call.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Well, if you smacked him and he stayed with you, then he's a jerk.
Well, I pushed him to the point. So, I think every case should be on an individual basis. Now, that was my fault. Now, I just got out of another relationship where, the guy was drunk, and he hit me. And I just went to the phone and called 911, and this was in Pennsylvania. And the police came, and, they put him in jail. And I decided to drop the charges.
I knew you were going to say that.
But the thing was that I'm not back with him, and I don't want to see him. And he hasn't been in contact with me. But the magistrate over there, he kept him in there for like a week and a half extra. Because, the police had knew, exactly what happened and all that. And that wasn't my fault because, he just did it and I left right away. I didn't do anything to provoke this. He just came home really drunk and stuff, right? But the thing is that I think that, everything has an individual case. Like the first time, that was my fault. The second time, that wasn't my fault. Because men are human, and you can only...
No.
Certain women,
I think... No, listen, I know a lot of men who are very human, and they don't hit women.
Well, that's true. Like the second one.
But the type of guy that you are attracted to, let me tell you something, Cheryl. I have nothing against you. If anything, I pity you, because I can tell from the way you're talking that you probably were an abused child. You probably grew up in a very poor family setting. You have low self-esteem.
No.
And the only type of man you can relate to is a bum, a drunk, a jerk who's going to hit you.
No.
That's what you want. That's what you're going to get for the rest of your life. I guarantee you.
You're wrong. My parents have been married for 50 years. I just moved back in with them again.
You moved? How old are you?
30.
30, and you moved back in with your parents. That's great.
I know.
That's peachy keen. That's peachy keen, Cheryl. Peachy keen.
No, but
you use phrases like "I've been in a relationship." Have you ever been married?
Yes.
And what happened with the marriage?
Divorced.
I know that, but what happened?
Oh, well, that was, he's running around and everything.
He ran around and everything.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to school, Cheryl?
I only had 1 year of college. I graduated high school.
1 year of college? Really?
That's all, yeah.
I thought you were going to say you had only 1 year of grammar school.
Oh, well, I grew up in Queens, and now I'm here in New Jersey. So.
You sound like you come from the mountains of Tennessee. Where'd you get that hillbilly accent?
Well, I did live out west for a few years, so.
Well, Cheryl,
I enjoy your show, but I think everybody, has different situations.
Well, did that make you feel better? I gave you a little verbal abuse. You're not close enough for me to hit you, and I wouldn't anyway. I don't believe in that, but good luck, Cheryl. You need it.
And the reason why I'm calling is I heard on the news broadcast they're going to put Jesse Jackson's likeness on a postage stamp.
Not a postage stamp. It's not that this excuses it, but it's a cancellation. You know, where they cancel, they put that cancellation mark on it.
I see. I was walking when I heard that in Brighton. I almost stumbled when I heard that. I said, my God, I don't believe it.
Well, don't look now, but this is Black History Month. Appropriately, they choose February, the shortest month of the calendar.
Would you mind telling me who selects people that go on stamps?
They put anybody they want. They just say, hey, move over, you. We're going to put this guy. We're going to put that guy. They submit names to the post office.
Oh, yeah? I guess pretty soon...
And it doesn't make any difference whether the guy supports this country or, as in the case of Yeltsin, opposes it at every turn. I haven't heard this guy stand up for America yet.
No, nothing. What does he do for a living, this guy?
What does he do for a living? He models Gucci shoes, park row suits, Seville coats.
All right, Bob. Thank you very much.
Not at all.
Bye-bye.
It's Mike checking in right now. Hello, Mike.
Good evening, Mr. Grant.
What do we have, another fake accent here?
No, I'm kind of blessed.
No, it's a fake accent.
It's not fake.
It's not fake? It sounds fake. I don't like it. Tired of accents. Tom, you're
one of them being, he interviewed Schroeder from...
Patricia Schroeder, Congresswoman from Colorado.
I think, I thought she was in a trance or something.
Well, I tell you, she was taking time out from Saturday Night Live. She usually appears on that program.
Yeah, I mean, not one difference of expression throughout her whole...
She looks like she's having her period at all times.
A zombie, and also this guy Wellstone from Minnesota.
Oh yeah, we needed him in the United States Senate. We really needed him.
I've seen him twice on TV. The first time it caught my eye when this nut was crying over his wife's shoulder in front of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And last night he started stuttering when he came on. I mean,
No, the guy's not going to make it. He's just not going to make it.
Obviously, I think he's a little starstruck. I think listening to himself because, like I said, he just couldn't get this point across in the beginning, and it was the usual rhetoric. Against America, stop the bombing, and give this guy a break. I mean, we bend over backwards to give these people breaks, and we always get it in the rear end from these people. I mean, when are these people going to realize this?
Never.
Well, what makes this guy tick? Did he go to Hubert Humphrey School, or obviously?
Well, Hubert Humphrey was never that way. Hubert Humphrey may have been a liberal, but Hubert Humphrey never gave aid and comfort to an enemy. Thank you for the call.
Okay.
It's Phil now checking in from Old Bridge. I wonder if this is the Phil from Old Bridge. Ajita Phil. Is this Ajita Phil?
This is Phil from Old Bridge.
Yes,
Grant,
it's Ajita Phil.
Would you think I was a fake and a phony if I was
say to you that I believe there was a Holocaust, and I think it probably was the greatest tragedy in my lifetime. Would you believe me if I was to say that to you? I don't know what your motives for saying it would be, but if you wanted to tell me that you truly believe that, I would accept it. Well, I'm telling it to you. But I'm also going to tell you this. I knew that. I knew it. In other words, Bill, in other words, what you're saying is, now that I've said that, I have a license to go ahead and spew a lot of anti-Semitic garbage. No. You want to know something? Mr. Grant, why do you insist on always cutting into my little time that I have on this show by calling me anti-Semitic? I do make my point. Let me tell you something. I listen to Bill, scusate, I hate to do this, but it is news time. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite you to stay where you are, hang on the line, and if you stand by in a few minutes after the news, the traffic, I will get back to you. Oh, yeah, Phil, we switched screeners, I think. All right, we'll get that to Phil, are you there? Phil. Yeah, I'm here, and okay. I don't know, what was that guy's name that just told me that? No, I don't know, Leon. Anyway, Leon. Phil, let's okay. I want to address not only to you, but I want to address this to Leon. First of all, I think that's a pretty tough act to follow what you just said with Phil. Okay, here's what I say. I still believe that injustice is injustice. And I listened this morning to a congressman come on and speak about calling us the most racist state in the Union. That was Assemblyman Arthur Eve, one of the biggest racists and white haters the world has ever known. Maybe true. For all I know, you may be right. Possibly you are. Well, his words. But he was not prepared to answer Mr. Diamond this morning. Had I been Mr. Eve, I would have said to him when speaking about racism, I would have said, what do you think the situation was for that complex in Fresh Meadow, the Hemsley Spears complex of over 3,000 apartments? I'm making myself nervous, Bob. But what I'm trying to say is 3,000 apartments. The NAACP had to go to court to secure 100 of them for black people. How do you want to be a black person walking by that complex and knowing that you couldn't live there? That the NAACP in its country, in its city, had to go to court to get us 100 apartments. You see, Mr. Eves, or whatever his name is, he wasn't prepared to answer that question. And suppose if here's something else. This is dated July 31st, 1990. 6,000 Russians religiously persecuted people are coming to the state of New Jersey, and they will have homes. Their children will be put in school. Why does this anger you? It angers me because there's so much suffering in this country. Yet, Mr. what's his name, Leon or whatever the hell it is, he could call me anti-Semitic. I don't think I'm anti-Semitic. If I believed that I was anti-Semitic, so help me God, I would find someone to help me, but I don't think I'm anti-Semitic. Well, I think most anti-Semites justice, no matter what kind. Most anti-Semites don't think they're anti-Semitic. I don't know. I don't know because I'm not an anti-Semitic. And let me tell you another thing, Mr. Grant. Hey, Phil, you know what? You probably are too stupid to realize that you are an anti-Semite. No, I'm not stupid. You see, your problem. I tell you what your problem is. Your problem is. Here you go. Your problem is. Go ahead, Mr. Grant. You're a capo. I am a real capo. How could I be? And you're lucky that you married an intelligent woman so that your children could take after your wife. Because if they took after you, they'd be in bad shape. Is that all? Can I respond to that? You may respond to that, Mr. Grant. I think when you say things like that to me, it must really hurt you that you have nothing else to say to insult me this way. Well, I don't have respect for you, and I'll tell you why. You don't have respect for me? No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because you're one of those drips who said, hey, I'll see you at the Dirty Styles dance party. I'll be over there. And you weren't there. You didn't come. You weren't there. You wouldn't know how to dance anyway, unless it was the minuet on your head. Mr. Grant.
something. Yeah.
There's two things that I'm sure I could do.
Dance?
No. I could punch the living hell out of you.
Really? You want to try that someday, pal?
Oh, come on.
You want to try that?
Why do I want it? Why?
You know, I tell you why you wouldn't mind trying that. Oh. Because you know that if I hit you, it wouldn't hurt your teeth because you don't have your own teeth.
My daughter.
It's
my
obvious.
daughter is right here, and she's letting go.
It's obvious that you've got false teeth. But you know, I despise phonies. I despise phonies who say, "Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I'll be there." But, yeah. Why didn't you come over to the table and say hello? You come.
Why should I? I said the next time I would come and say hello.
And you never came, huh?
No, I never came back.
Good. Who needs you?
Anti-Semitic slime that have been calling you up. I'd just like to ask them if they ever went to Borough Park and they asked anybody between the age of 20 and 50 if they have any grandparents, I think the answer would be almost unanimously no. In fact, a lot of them don't even know what grandparents were when they were growing up. So that's the answer to that fallacy. As far as guys like Phil go, you know, Phil, your problem is you are an anti-Semite, and you won't admit it to yourself. You're like a drug addict who won't admit that he's on drugs to his family. And I think guys like you, Phil, being you love your Palestinians and your Saddam Hussein so much, should have really joined them in worshiping Allah in heaven, where Mr. Hussein is soon going to go, along with his pal Yasser Arafat, the anti-American slime, and all the other Palestinians which will be expelled from Israel by the Kach movement of Mayor Kahane. Never again.
I was waiting for that. I recognized Leon. He could call from a cigar box, which of course is where he was calling from, and I'd still recognize him. Tom.
I heard you mention before that you were in Auschwitz. I'd like to give you a few facts on Auschwitz that, if I can have 2 minutes of your time, would answer a lot of questions these people calling up. Number one, in Auschwitz, there were 8,000 British soldiers that were captured at Tobruk in North Africa. Not once did any of them ever notice any gassing. The Red Cross was called in 1944 to investigate a synthetic rubber plant. There was nothing about gassing. If Zyklon B gas was used to gas anyone, there would be a blue haze on the masonry structure in Auschwitz. There is none. Zyklon B gas is lighter than air, it's highly explosive, and it supposedly was in the room next to the so-called crematoria, which is another fallacy. It would have blown the place sky high. I mean, there's 8 million survivors. Where did all these survivors come from? You were there. You didn't notice that the crematory was right next to the so-called gas chamber?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't notice that. Is this supposed to somehow or other refute the fact that about 6 million people died in the Holocaust?
A lot of people died, but they were not gassed. That is the biggest fallacy. That's the biggest lie ever
regardless,
on any...
Well, now wait a minute. I saw the Zyklon canisters. I saw them. They have them there. Don't tell me what I saw and what I didn't see.
The Zyklon B gas was used for
Don't tell me what I saw and what I didn't see. Don't you dare do that, Tom.
The Zyklon B gas was used to keep down the disease of the
Oh my gosh! I don't believe these people.
It was used to fumigate.
I don't believe
clothing.
I don't believe these people
come out of shower heads. As a matter of fact,
you know what? You know what?
Can I say one thing before I hang up?
Yeah. What?
Okay. The head of the Holocaust studies at Jerusalem University admits there was no gassing at Dachau like that. Al, the humanitarian you so.
I wasn't at Dachau, but I was at Auschwitz, and I did see. And I can tell you this: that there is absolute proof that approximately 6 million people died in Europe from approximately 1938
to
1940.
They won't allow an investigation. After 40 years, they will not allow an investigation with chemical analysis and everything else.
I saw the hair from the victims. I saw their luggage.
I saw their shoes. I saw the fillings in their teeth.
Yes,
I saw their
Then
eyeglasses.
they were from Poles, and that was from everybody else. But all of a sudden, it's always...
I don't believe the depths that anti-Semitism has sunk to. I don't believe
come
it.
on, stop
I
it.
don't. Hey, listen, you know what,
Is that
Tom?
your only argument?
Tom, you are really a lousy, no-good scumbag. I want you off my phone. You're off my phone, you scum. I don't believe these people. I don't believe them. Laura from Somerville, hello.
Hi, Mr. Grant. Well, here's another scumbag, but I hope you'll do me the courtesy of letting me have a minute. About this man, Luchter, whatever his name is. Last year, exactly 1 year ago, in February of 1990, the Atlantic Monthly magazine published a feature article about him, which was very laudatory. They said that he was an accomplished engineer and an expert in gas chamber technology. Now, as soon as that article hit the newsstands, the ADL, the B'nai B'rith, got on the magazine's case, and they criticized them for publishing such a laudatory article about a man who had previously published a report in which he said that the Auschwitz gas chambers could not have functioned for killing people. Well, 5 months after that article appeared in July of 1990, the authorities at Auschwitz lowered the number of victims from 4 million to just under 1 million. And those new figures were supported by none other than Shmuel Krakowski.
Why are you so interested in the Holocaust? Why?
Well, why is anybody interested?
No, why are you? I'm not asking about anybody. Don't weasel out. Why
I'm
you?
not weaseling out.
Why do you take this? Why do you take this particular interest? I'll answer the question for you since you're at a loss. Since the question boggles your mind. The question is simply this. You are a member of a group, a neo-Nazi group of Jew haters, and what you are doing is trying...
Deal with the facts.
I am dealing with the facts.
I'm trying
Why don't you go to Yad Vashem, where they have the documents showing that 5,800,000 people died in various concentration camps at the hands of the Nazis in World War II. Why is it that you don't want to admit that? What perversity in your warped mind keeps you from doing that?
Can I quote Mr. Krakowski?
All of a sudden, you want to quote a Jew when it serves your purpose? Is that it?
I want to quote him when he's obviously facing...
So we got a big deal. You say that he revised downward those people who were killed at Auschwitz. Auschwitz was not the only death camp, you jerk.
That's exactly what he's saying.
Well, then what's your argument?
Well, what Mr. Krakowski said was, quote, the 4 million figure was let slip by Colonel Rudolf Hess, the death camp commandant. Some have bought it.
Rudolf Hess was in England. Rudolf Hess went to England.
I'm quoting
in 1940. What the heck are you talking about, you jerk?
I'm telling you what this paper says. I've got it in front of me.
I don't care if you have a paper in front of you. I could have Mein Kampf in front of me. So what?
You
jerk. I don't understand. I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Hi. Bob, I just want to know your opinion of that. I had read an article one time, and it was mentioned that in the 1950s, the International Red Cross and the German government independently made an in-depth survey of the number of Jews who perished during the Holocaust. And reportedly, both came up with a figure of, from all causes, shootings, bombs, typhoid, and so on, the number of 250,000. Did you ever come across this kind of figure?
No, I never did because it's fictional.
Well, is there any way to verify this with the Red Cross?
You're a fake, you're a phony, you're putting on a fake accent. You don't have that fake accent. Come on, let's hear how you really sound.
I don't have a fake accent, Mr. Grant.
You don't have. Where are you from?
Where from?
Where are you from?
You know, when somebody asks...
Where are you from? Are you ashamed of where you're from?
No, Bob, but...
Where are you from, Tom?
If somebody asks you the question, why do you say...
Tom, you obviously are ashamed of where you're from.
Well, I'd rather just deal with the...
This guy is... Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this worm. He's ashamed of where he's from. I'm sure the people where you are from are glad you're not telling.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't want to be associated with you, you vermin. And there was no such story in Time magazine. You're making it up.
I did not say Time
You're
magazine.
making it up, you jerk.
They get worse and worse and worse. There's a stench in the studio coming through the phone.
Next, Jack.
Hello. Slams the lid on things for today. Until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant, reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Kill Saddam Hussein. Kill him now. The month after that, or the month after that. But as sure as you're sitting there, wherever you are, in your automobiles, in your homes, wherever, listening to me right now, as sure as you are there, you know that that's what Israel will do if we don't do it. Because Israel knows full well that a venomous viper like Saddam Hussein cannot, must not be left to destroy anymore. Of that, there is no doubt in my mind. Of course, I think he has a death wish for human beings, other human beings. But in answer, I've answered your question, Frank. They would love to, I'm sure, not all of them. There are some who really believe that he is a hero. They really cheer him. But there are many, many more who are only following because they have no choice.
Yeah, or,
okay.
Or Castañas, maybe.
On WABC, let's say hello to Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. What a gobble.
Hi, Bob.
Yeah, hello, Jimmy.
I was listening to Joy Behar driving home, and it got me thinking how the white middle-class male has lost his voice, has lost, is getting stomped on and crapped on. A man happened to call her up. And what brings us up is that if you remember Al Campanis and Jimmy the Greek,
yes.
They say anything about a minority, they're gone. They're off the station. Jesse Jackson can call New York Town. He can still run for president. Joyce Behar is considered a minority because she's a woman.
No, women are not in the minority. As a matter of fact, they are in the majority. There are more females in America than there are males.
Well, I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about they consider themselves minorities as far as their rights are concerned.
Well, what rights do they not have that we do? Would you please tell me?
What rights do they have that we do? That don't they have that we do?
Yeah.
I couldn't answer that. I'm saying that's how they consider.
Neither can I. They have just as many rights as you do. As a matter of fact, in some respects, even more. But anyway, what's your point, sir?
All right, my point is that a man happened to call, and he said that he was raped by a woman. Which, I mean, it's hard to believe.
I'm sure he was putting her on, Jimmy. And this guy who called her got just the attention he wanted to because you are very gullible.
No, but Bob,
otherwise, you wouldn't be calling.
Let's say he was putting her on. Let's say he wasn't putting her on, right? A hypothetical situation. She doesn't know whether he's putting her on or not. It is possible. I mean,
Is it really?
You don't think it's possible that a man... I mean, the man could be slight.
Of course not. Of course not.
What if a man was slight, 120 pounds?
Oh, cut it out. What woman would want a little twerp like that anyway?
All right, but the point is, Bob, whether or not... If it's a hypothetical question...
I'm not even going to engage in this conversation. It's absurd. The premise is totally absurd.
Bob, if you just give me a second, I'll just tell you my point, okay? She happened to laugh at him, ridicule him on the air.
I don't blame her.
You don't blame her. Well,
I don't blame her.
Jimmy the Greek, you wouldn't be on the air. Now, you don't blame... What if let's say...
Look,
a woman who called up was an invalid. Let's say he was 120 pounds. Let's say he's embarrassed.
Why would a woman want to rape an invalid?
Why?
Unless she was real kinky and wanted to know how it was to do it with a guy with only 2 legs.
Yeah, but do gavones care what...
I got it. Did you get it too, Roy? You missed it? Well, I got it. He showed his true colors. The March of the Gavones. Why don't we call this program Parade of the Gavones? Hello, Ben. You're on WABC. Are you in the parade?
Good afternoon.
You have in Long Island City. What do you have?
I have a diner in Long Island City.
You have a diner?
A diner.
What's the name of your diner?
I beg your pardon?
What is the name of your diner? I'll tell you the name of it. Mangiaghista, mangia merda, tu sei proprio uno... Get off of here, you phony. What a phony. Any day that guy... The only way that guy would get into a diner would be through the back door to clean out the place.
Before the break,
Yes.
who wanted to stop, spending money on the war and spend more on social...
Yeah, he said on AIDS. Spend it on AIDS. I want you to spend it on AIDS because my boyfriend and I are having a difficult time. Yes.
Yeah, well,
it really upsets me a little bit when I hear these crying liberals calling up with their whining problems, and you respond with a response as weak as "shut up, jerk," and hang up the phone. Why would you do that? That gives them credence, Bob.
Well, I think you're speaking with forked tongue, John, because a moment ago you said how on top of the facts I am.
Oh, you are?
Well, if I'm on top of the facts, then why the criticism? How would you know I'm on top of the facts if all I do is say, get off the phone, you creep?
Well, no.
Do you understand, John, do you understand what I'm saying? You can't have it both ways.
Sure.
So how in the world would you know that I'm on top? How would you know I'm on top of the facts if that's all I do?
That's not all you do. Sometimes you debate, and that's what.
Well, sometimes I don't feel like debating with a certain person. Sometimes they turn me off. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. I just find them obnoxious or repulsive.
Yeah.
And I don't. Hey, look, I don't have to take each phone call the way you want me to. I do it the way I want to.
You're on the air. You're making an image.
No, I'm not making an image. I have an image. For better or for worse, I have an image.
Sure.
And if suddenly my huge audience should disappear, guess what? I would disappear. And you know what? I'd be happy.
You'd be happy to disappear?
I'd be happy if I didn't have to come in and do this anymore.
Oh, come on, Bob. You love it on the air.
I really would. I love it on the air?
Yeah,
I tell you, the only thing I love is being able to tell a jerk and a phony that he is a jerk and a phony.
Yeah, but that gives them credence, Bob. When you surrender like that gives them credence.
No, it doesn't give them credence.
You have to be able to...
Hey, listen, I tell you what, John, where were you years and years ago when I began my career? Why weren't you there to advise me then? Just think, I might have been successful. You jerk, get off the phone. I can't stand phonies like that. Here he starts out by saying, boy, you're really on top of the facts, Bob. And then he turns around and says that. Felt good to hang up on the skunk. Well, you're on WABC, Joe from Rockaway. Yes, what's on your mind, Joe?
Okay, I want to talk about the Holocaust.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Nothing to debate because there was a Holocaust. About 12 million people were killed in concentration camps. 6 million of those people were Jews. They were killed for one reason and one reason only, because they were Jews. That is a fact. That is a historical fact. And these scum, these slime balls that come out of their rocks, come out from under the rocks, they come along and they will continue to try to have you believe, not you, but have other people believe it didn't happen. It did happen.
Okay, well, the point I'm trying to make
such a place.
Have you been there?
No, but I know that it's been cited for human rights abuses.
I've been there half a dozen times, and it is a very civilized place.
In certain aspects, but human rights abuses, you can't ignore that.
I can't ignore that. I'm not ignoring the problems in Samaria, Judea, and Gaza. But you were making a statement about Israel. You wouldn't know a civilized place if it fell on your head. I could tell from listening to you, just the few words you've spoken, that you are crude, you are your only motivation is anti-Semitism.
3-year-old Palestinians is
you can hardly
okay.
you can hardly talk. You can hardly talk. Get your teeth fixed. Have your lips straightened out, and then call, will you, you filthy, vile scumbag? He says Gorbachev is taking the country toward dictatorship. The other guy calls for the guy to step down and resign. By the way, the Supreme Soviet has denied Yeltsin any further opportunity to speak out.
But you see, they divide themselves for hawks and doves.
Really? How did you get into my country, by the way, Yuri?
By plane.
By train?
By plane.
By plane.
Yeah.
But that tells me the method of transportation. I want to know how you got in.
Oh, I immigrated here 10 years ago.
Really? How long ago?
10.
Oh, well. On WABC, let's say hello to Joey. Hello. The budget crunch does have some serendipitous side effects. For example, don't let them tell you that state government spending can't be cut without hurting critical government services. In the state of New Jersey, the Department of State has just eliminated a $60,000 a year expense, and nobody will notice, except maybe State Senator John Russo, that selfish believer in nepotism. The saving comes through the resignation of Carol Russo, daughter of John, who managed to put 9 of his mashvicha on public payrolls. A new $60,000 a year position had been created for Carol Russo in the Department of State. Mind you, the job had been created just for her. Her job was to, get a load of this, raise funds for private arts groups. Although she had no experience in the arts, Carol Russo had done some fundraising for her father's political campaigns. This was quintessential patronage, a high salaried position created just for a state senator's relative. The trouble was, people in the arts community noticed that Carol Russo didn't raise a dime. She resigned, reportedly under pressure, after complaints that Russo's appointment meant $60,000 was siphoned off for political patronage instead of being spent on music, dance, theater, sculpture, and painting. More reductions are needed in state spending, but the resignation of Russo's daughter is a healthy start. For all those Russo relatives speeding at the public trough, 1 down, 8 to go. And you folks there in Dover Township, Toms River area there, if that bum runs again, please, even if they put up a skunk, vote for the skunk. You got to get that guy out of there. Until tomorrow, this is Bob Grant reminding you, your influence counts. Use it. Kill Saddam Hussein. Kill him now.
A couple of months ago, you made a statement about Mr. Farrakhan. You said that how much white blood do he have in his body? And I would like to tell you that he has 99.9% white blood, but 1% black blood. And that's what makes him a better man than you ever be, and anybody who ever call your station.
You sound like you're a racist.
No, long term racist.
No, you sound like you're a racist when you say that would make a guy a better man because he has 1% black blood. That would make him a better man than a guy who doesn't. Well, that's a racist remark.
Right, I'm sorry.
By the way, listen, Ricky, it's interesting that you called today because the toilet on the 17th floor is broken. It's not functioning, and we need somebody to clean it up. And we need somebody with a dirty, filthy mouth that would be very appropriate to clean it up. By the way, don't bother trying to shine my shoes. I wouldn't let you get that close to me, you slime ball.
Offended by the caller before who said, why do you believe in not hitting women? What is the matter with this guy? Aren't people aware of the level of abuse that women receive here in this society from men? The media and the news are replete with violence against women. And, I mean, I can't even go turn on the TV or the movies without seeing something of violence against women. But I was also disturbed, Bob, by how you handled the call, because you seem to find this call humorous, and you let him go on and on about how women should be hit. And you're usually pretty fervent about your beliefs in putting people in their place when you disagree with them. And I was wondering why you just let this guy go on and you found it humorous.
Why don't we get together over the weekend and analyze that? Why don't we have an analysis of why I treated him the way I did? Well, do you have a couch at your place and a little piece of Kleenex I could put my head on because the patient prior to me may have had greasy kid stuff on his head? Get off my phone, you stupid jerk. Crying out loud, how dare he? He doesn't like the way I handle the call. Tough. They deserved a weekly show.
I don't think they're raped. Curtis is not qualified to talk about the Middle East. He sounds like a Frank School of Broadcasting dropout. He steals all those cliches and one-liners from Frank. And he doesn't know what he's talking about the Middle East. Whenever he does, he's got a prepared script in front of him. It's so obvious that he's reading off names in the Middle East.
Why don't you show up at the Rio Diner and tell him to his face what you think?
I wouldn't waste my time driving out there to see that farm.
Well, maybe the real reason you wouldn't tell him is you wouldn't have the guts to do that.
Oh, I'd come and see you, for sure.
No,
to shake your hand, but not to see him, no.
Yeah, well, I don't understand this antipathy for a guy that's on the radio. I mean, you people take us too seriously.
Well,
take us too seriously. We're not that important. Thank you, Myra.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Son and his family who live in West Virginia. And they had off for the Martin Luther King Day in school, which is my grandchildren.
But there was no holiday for either Washington's birthday or Lincoln's birthday.
Huh?
Isn't that really unbelievable?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's a disgrace.
It's frightening.
It's a disgrace that this bum should get a day in his honor because the politicians were too feckless, too cowardly to vote their conscience, and instead voted because their cagazotes. It's a shame. It really is a disgrace.
And
I just read that the Federal Election Commission has just ruled against certain that money was illegally spent by the Anti-Defamation League in violation of the law, because without registering as a political action committee, they spent over $20,000 urging voters to not vote for persons associated with Lyndon LaRouche. And also they have tax-exempt status, which should be canceled because, tax-exempt organizations are prohibited from using charitable funds for any political purpose. Now these people, Anti-Defamation League, I know what they are. These people are gangsters.
Gangsters? That's a bit strong, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
speaking of gangsters,
yeah.
How is Lyndon LaRouche?
Well, he's running for president. He's the first person to announce that he's running for president.
From his jail cell, right?
Well, he's the only person I know of that's competent in the field of economics. So
he's running from his jail cell, right, Matt?
Well, you know that they say that politicians' careers end in jail, but statesmen's careers often begin there.
Oh, dear me. These followers of LaRouche, they are so fanatic, but that's what the type of person a LaRouche would attract.